Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day 5 of this series on becoming a confident leader. My name is Dr. Mary Medina Gross, and I have enjoyed sharing this journey with you, this first step on the journey of becoming a confident leader, focusing on self awareness. Um, so today, what we're going to talk about is just kind of bring this all together for us again. We've covered a lot of territory, so today we're going to wrap it all up and conclude with some clarity on kind of what you can do next to continue to move in this direction of becoming a more confident leader. So let's start with, what do we mean by becoming a confident leader and what's getting in the way? We covered this on day 1. And so, what I'm talking about when I'm inviting you to become a confident leader, I'm asking you to really check in on the inside. How confident do you feel on the inside? And how would you know that you're confident? Um, I have offered that I think that what confidence really is that inner trust, knowing that regardless of what's happening outside of me, I know, even if I can't see them, that I have the resources and people, anything that I need to address whatever is coming up. To me, that's confidence, right? What imagine what it would be like if you were walking through your day from the moment your feet hit the floor to the moment you went back and your head hit the pillow, that everything that came up for you, regardless if it's good, bad, ugly, or somewhere in the middle, you're like, I got this. This may not be my preference. This isn't what I wanted it to be, but I got this. It's okay. In fact, you might even see ways of using what didn't go right for you, right? As a way of moving you closer to what it is that you actually want. When we are when our nervous system is activated, we can't possibly see that. So that's how we really got to the core issue here, right? So let's back up before we get to the core issue. When I'm not feeling confident on the inside, then what we strive to do is to get the outside world to match what it is that we want it to be, right? So, what is it that we need to feel comfortable and safe inside? And so, we're going to then look outside of us and try to manipulate and control people and events so that it matches our expectations, so that we can feel good inside. That's what we want. We all want to feel good inside. But the problem is, everything that we're doing to feel good inside is actually exacerbating the problem in most cases. It certainly isn't relieving the issue of not feeling good inside. Even think about it, right? Think about the last win that you had. How satisfied were you with that win? And for how long were you satisfied with that win? Right? Because what happens when we win from a state of chronic stress, our nervous system is like, great, we won that. Let's move on to the next, because it's always looking for what's the next threat? What's the next thing that we have to be prepared for? So, to become a confident leader, what we're really talking about is, how do we get to feel okay on the inside? And how do we direct becoming okay on the inside, regardless of what's happening outside of us? And so that's how we really got to our nervous system as being the primary object of our attention here. Because if our nervous system is activated and is constantly in a state of flight, fight, or freeze, then we can't possibly see what else is going on. We can't possibly trust anything else, because we're always being told internally that it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. You got to do something about this. You got to fix this. You got to problem solve this. That's always going to be going on. So, what we have proposed then as the solution to this is honing our self awareness skills so that we are aware of what our nervous system is doing. And not only aware of it, but we're able to bring ourselves some comfort for it. Because that's the other thing that we tend to do, is we are also hoping that because we don't know, sometimes we're unconscious of what exactly are we looking for, what exactly is going to make me feel better. We're just hoping that people in situations outside of us kind of figure it out for us, right? So again, it's this whole idea of I want the outside world to change so I don't have to. Well, that's just not going to happen. Right. And so, if we really want to get to this space of this calm, confident, and graceful leader, we've got to take care of ourselves. And this is where we really push up against that common belief of I've got to take care of everybody else first. And as long as everybody else is taken care of, then I'll be okay. It doesn't work that way. Now, it's not necessarily an either or, but at some point, we got to start with ourselves. We have to start with ourselves. And once we figure out what's it going to take for me to feel okay inside, now we are completely available to support others who are also not feeling good inside and don't quite know how to achieve that feeling of confidence and I was going to say serenity, but that seemed confidence and serenity. Why not? Right? That's really what we're going for here. So our nervous system is activated. We're going to use self-awareness. And when we talk about self-awareness, we're dialing into listening to that inner voice. We have said, remember the story of the two wolves. There's always an inner battle within us between the ego and our soul. And it's not that one has to win, right? We're talking about how do we take advantage of the gifts of both of these systems, and how do we get both of these systems aligned together towards the same outcome? Because when that happens, miracles happen. Everything happens with ease, and it seems like there's just no work to it. It's just happening. So we start to listen to this inner chatter. And the first thing that we notice when we start to listen to this inner chatter is how we beat ourselves up. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. This is literally what is happening because we think that we got to contain ourselves, right? That ego has to keep reminding us where the boundaries are. And these boundaries were set for us by our primary caretakers in childhood. That's where our boundaries were developed. The rules that we live by were developed. The beliefs that we have about ourselves were developed mostly before you were 7 years old, before you had language to even talk about what was happening. It was just happening by default. During those early years of birth to 7, your brainwave patterns are in the same state that is in when we're in hypnosis, which means that you're just literally taking everything in, assuming that it must be true, and now aligning your life according to that. So when we first start listening to this inner chatter, it's going to sound like it's beating us up. And so the first thing I want to remind you to do with that is just love that part of you. I was having this conversation with a colleague this week about this experience of what does it mean to love those parts of ourselves that are hurting. And one of the things that she said was that she loved the strategy of just loving whatever was coming up for her, whether that meant that she was frustrated because her business wasn't things weren't happening in her business the way that she wanted to, things in her family, there were family relations that just weren't falling in where she wanted them to, and her own physical health, there were lots of things that were coming up. And so for her, from that perspective, there's all these things I've got to go figure out. I got to figure out my business, I got to figure out my family, I got to figure out my health. There's all this fixing, there's all this problem solving. And when we introduced this idea of just love those parts of you, she said, it feels like I'm still doing something, but I don't have to fix it, right? Because really, how much can we really fix anyway, right? There's so many variables outside of our control, and we can only do the best that we can. And so we're going to love those parts of ourselves that doesn't know how to build our business, or doesn't know how to have those difficult conversations with the family member, doesn't know how to help heal her own body. We're just going to love those parts of ourselves. Now, one of the things that I can hear is, and my own objector is raising this like, Mary, sure, love is great, but love doesn't change anything. And I would have to argue with you. Because again, based on this conversation that I had and what that meant to that friend of mine that I was talking about with my own experience with this, is that maybe we don't have to be the fixer for everything. Maybe that's not who we're supposed to be in the first place. When we listen to ourselves, we acknowledge ourselves, and we love those parts of ourselves, what that is doing for our nervous system is giving it permission to settle down until we can tell ourselves, we got this. I know you're frightened. I know you're scared. I know you're frustrated. I know you're angry. Whatever it is, I see you. I feel you. And we'll figure this out. We have to be able and willing to give ourselves those messages because they're not going to come from anywhere else. So when we give ourselves that love, we're coming closer to ourselves. Our soul is saying, "Oh, hello. We're going to get in on the action here now, right? We're going to be waking up." And your ego is like, "Oh, thank God." Right? You're giving me some respite here. You're giving me permission to let go a little bit. And the more that we give our ego permission to let go, we create more space for that soul. So, what you find happens is that a lot of the things that we are resisting, we don't have control over anyway. And somehow those things tend to resolve themselves. It's amazing that again, we walk around thinking that if we're going to get an outcome, we somehow have to do something to create that outcome. We're putting all the work on ourselves, all the responsibility on ourselves, and not taking in that we've got resources all around us to help us with this. But when we charge in with this mindset of, I've got to do it, we don't even notice. We're not even looking for that. So as our nervous system settles down, our soul starts to wake up and take up more energy for us. And it's actually giving us energy. That is our source of energy. And so we begin to have some clarity around, oh my gosh, this is really who I am, and this is really what I'm capable of. And this is what I'm really caring about. This is what I'm passionate about. And so that's how the ego gets to calm down a little bit. The soul gets pumped up a little bit. And now we have this yin and yang that is working together because we need that ego to keep us in check, right? And we've got a lot of rules that we can go through and resolve, but that ego is still always giving us that checks and balance. Meanwhile, our soul is getting fed, and as it feeds and blossoms, we become more ourselves. Not We just become more of us, and that feels amazing. That is that sense of confidence that regardless of what's happening outside of me, I got this. Not just me, because I'm not here by myself. I am supported by everyone around me and everything around me. So, getting to the core of becoming a confident leader, and not just because things are going our way, but under any circumstances, is settling our nervous system. And the way to settle our nervous system is really to build that relationship with ourselves through self awareness, listening to our ego. What is it that we're scared about? What are we resisting? What are we angry about? What can't we forgive? What don't we know? Just let all of that go. Just love all of that. And as we do, the soul opens up and says, "Oh, here, you want these resources? Here you go. They're right here." As we close, I want you to know, and I want to acknowledge that this is not an easy road to take. This isn't for everyone. And as I said the other day, if you are not willing to love whatever comes up for you, I would suggest not to do this work. Just keep doing what you're doing. Find another way to settle your nervous system, because I promise you that as you start tuning in, more of this is going to come up. And you're going to be like, "Mary, I should never have listened to you." But if you are willing to love whatever comes up and bring yourself closer to your soul with that process, then start tuning into that inner voice. giving it love wherever it needs love, and then creating that space for your soul, for your intuition to really start to sing to you, to talk to you, to coach you, to encourage you. I'll never forget, it was a few years ago, the first time that I can remember my inner voice actually validating me. I was washing dishes, right? Wasn't doing anything big, important, whatever. But for me, washing dishes, particularly in the middle of the day, goes against a rule of there's work hours and there's personal hours. And so if I had chosen to do dishes during the middle of the day, oftentimes my inner chatter was saying, why are you doing this? What are you avoiding? There's other things that you should be doing, and then ticking off all the things that I should be doing and what I should have had done. You can feel, right? You could probably feel that nervous system getting fired up. But on this day, I decided this was the time to wash dishes. And so I started washing dishes. And as I was washing dishes, I literally heard a voice say, This Mary called me by name. Mary, this is exactly what you need to be doing right now. I heard it so clearly, I had to turn around by myself. But who said that? And I just then settled into, Mary, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now. Of course you are. And I enjoyed washing the rest of those dishes. And imagine now my nervous system, there is no resistance. I'm just completely open now to whatever is coming up. So this is possible. It's possible. It's one of those things that only you can do. Only you can do this for you. No one else can do it. And yet, it's also one of those things that I don't think that we can do alone. I think we need one another to walk with us on this path. And if you don't have someone that can lead you and walk with you on this path, then reach out to me. This is why I'm here. This is my purpose in life, is to walk with leaders who are willing to come to themselves, because when they come to themselves, they learn to give themselves grace and compassion. Now they are automatically more empathetic, more compassionate as leaders. Doesn't mean that they let people walk all over them. That is not what a compassionate leader does. A compassionate leader is one who's win, 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 right? I'm going to win. My team member is going to win. Our project is going to win. This organization is going to win. It's all about everyone winning. Those are the leaders that I think this world needs right now. And so I'm here to walk with you. So if you don't have someone who is walking with you to help you, to support you as you get to know your inner voice, to remind you that this, whatever is coming up for you, is not necessarily real, to remind you of what's possible on the other side. Because again, as we're going through this, there are going to be days, there might be strings of days or even weeks that says, wow, this I'm putting in all of this time, all of this energy, and nothing seems to be changing. That's the time that you need someone with you to either tweak what you're doing, help you see some flaws, or just remind you to hold still. Hang in there. It's coming. And then to help you see the little subtle signs of progress that you may not notice. That's why I'm here. That gives me the greatest joy. So if this is a journey that you're on and you are looking for someone to walk with you, please send me a message, put a note in this, put reset in the comments. We've been doing this all week. Hitting reset in the comments is telling your unconscious mind we're going to find another way. The other thing that hitting reset is doing is putting it out there to the universe to let other people who are also ready to hit reset that we're all in this together, that you're not alone. So you can't do this alone. No one can do this for you, and you can't do it alone. So hit reset, type reset in the comments below. I'll be in touch with you. I'm here to walk with you. I'm here to help you find the resources that you need to become that confident and graceful leader. Thank you so much for joining me for this series. I look forward to further conversations with you. But in the meantime, reach out to me. Let's all become more confident together. Thank you.